know one of the 12 Kizuki actually made an appearance in another manga? Or which upper rank killed a leader of the Demon Slayer Corps? Here are 42 secrets you didn't know about the 12 Kizuki. Akaza is the only member of the 12 Kizuki who never felt respect toward Muzan. He just sees him as a boss who gives orders, someone he must obey, and nothing more. However, he's still the most loyal among the Kizuki, and only complained once to Muzan, which was when Doma was promoted to the upper rank 2. Even after becoming a demon, Akaza still has many things influenced by the girl he loved when he was human, Koyuki. His compass needle technique has the shape of a snowflake, because Koyuki always wore snowflake-shaped hairpins, and her name also contains the kanji for snow. Akaza also named most of his techniques after fireworks, as a reference to the night he went out with Koyuki to see fireworks and they got engaged. Akaza's love for Koyuki runs so deep that he's the only demon who refuses to kill women. Muzan even gave him special permission to follow this personal rule. Akaza is also the only upper rank who doesn't use a weapon in battle. He fights with his bare hands, which might explain why he doesn't have long fingernails like the other demons. Do you remember this drum guy? His name was Kyogai, and he was once the lower rank 6. It's not easy to find cool secrets about him, but I still managed to dig up a few. For example, he's the only lower rank to have his position engraved on his right eye instead of the left like all the other lower ranks. Kyogai's blood demon art is actually very similar to that of the new upper rank 4, Nakime. They both use musical instruments to activate their blood demon art, and their techniques allow them to freely manipulate a specific structure at will. Speaking of Nakime, she's the only upper rank who doesn't have any officially named blood demon art techniques. She just uses her biwa to manipulate and alter the structure she's in without chanting or saying any names. Even back when she was human, Nakime was a biwa musician and used to perform on big stages for people, but one night she was scheduled to perform at a particular venue and found out that her husband had stolen her only kimono and gambled it away. This made her so furious that she murdered him with a hammer. Yikes. Another fun fact about this crazy woman is that in the official English release of volume 12, her name was mistakenly translated as Nasume. Rumor has it that she's still looking for the translator with a hammer in her hands. Did you know that Rui was actually way stronger than we think? The second Demon Slayer fanbook reveals that he was as powerful as lower rank 1 or 2, but he never fought them to switch ranks because he just didn't care about power. And the reason he lost to Giyu that easily was because he made himself weaker by sharing Muzan's blood with his spider family. In the second fanbook, we also learned that Rui's hobby is Cat's Cradle, which is a game where players use a loop of string to create and pass patterns. Not too surprising for a spider demon. Rui is also one of the few known demons, along with Gyutaro and Kaigaku, who kept their human name even after becoming a demon. Before we continue, do me a quick favor, guys. We're working really hard to reach 100k subscribers and get that silver play button by the end of the year. So hit that subscribe button if you enjoy our content. It would mean the world to me. Despite being a user of thunder breathing, Kaigaku never mastered the first form of the breathing style. If you pay close attention to the movement pattern when Zenitsu performs the first form, it was probably because Kaigaku placed his sheath on his back instead of his waist. Kaigaku was given a kimono by his sensei, Jigoro Kuwajima, similar to the one Jigoro wore himself, but he refused to wear it even once. No wonder he's one of the most hated characters in Demon Slayer. Another cool detail about Kaigaku is that his necklace and bracelets were yellow when he was human, symbolizing enlightenment or good. But after becoming a demon, they turned blue, which symbolizes darkness or evil. Kaigaku is the second known Demon Slayer to become a demon, the first being Kokushibo. And interestingly, Kokushibo was the one who turned Kaigaku into a demon. Kokushibo has been challenged 3 times for his position as upper rank 1, and he's defeated every demon that challenged him. One of these battles was against none other than Akaza. While Kokushibo would usually devour any demon he defeated, he spared Akaza because he enjoyed the battle. Kokushibo might have caused more damage to the Demon Slayer Corps than Muzan ever did. He once killed a leader of the Corps, which forced them to put a lot of effort into hiding the locations of future leaders, and also led to the formation of the Kakushi to help with security. Because of his strength and loyalty, Muzan respects Kokushibo so much that he considers him a business partner rather than just a subordinate. However, the demon that Muzan absolutely hates is Doma. This is because Doma doesn't take anything seriously and isn't even afraid of Muzan. He literally feels no emotions at all. The only reason Muzan keeps him around is because Doma is just too powerful, and replacing him would be difficult. And Muzan isn't the only one. All the other members of the 12 Kizuki hate Doma, especially Akaza, because Doma's personality is literally the complete opposite of his. is. Doma prefers to eat women, which is a huge no-no for Akaza, like I mentioned earlier. In Doma's debut appearance, when he turned Daki and Gyutaro into demons, there's a small detail many of you probably missed. If you pay close attention, the writing engraved on his eyes says 6 instead of 2. This is because he wasn't Upper Moon 2 at the time, but actually Upper Moon 6. I wonder how many years it took him to reach that level. Remember when Muzan saved us 4 seasons by killing the Lower Moon demons? One of the demons was this guy named Rokuro, and his name has a small detail that most of you probably missed. His name contains a kanji that sounds like the kanji for 6, which might be a subtle reference to his ultimate fate, being the 6th demon of the lower ranks to die in the series. Enmu's name also has a cool secret behind it. His name is a perfect reflection of his abilities, as En means to have a nightmare, and Mu means dream or vision. Even before becoming a demon, Enmu was already a weirdo. He couldn't tell the difference between dreams and reality, which caused a lot of problems for the people around him. He also pretended to be a doctor and misused procedures like hypnotic therapy, convincing patients who didn't have long to live that they were completely fine. Daki's design and abilities were heavily inspired by Japanese folklore. Her ability to stretch her neck comes from a yokai called the rokuro, and her obi slashes might be a reference to the Itan Moment, a yokai that looks like a flying strip of cloth and attacks people by wrapping around them. According to the second fan book, Daki was so attractive as a human that people would call out to her in the street and even give her gifts just for a smile. Speaking of her human life, Daki's name when she was a human was Ume. While it sounds like a cute name, there's actually a really sad reason behind it. She was named after the disease that took her mother's life, which appears to be syphilis. The Japanese word for syphilis is baidoku, and both bai and ume are alternate readings of the same kanji. But her mother's disease didn't just affect her, it also affected his brother, Gyutaro. Gyutaro most likely suffered from congenital syphilis, which happens when a mother is infected during pregnancy. That would explain Gyutaro's unusual appearance, as the symptoms include deformed skeleton and blotches caused by rashes. Despite holding the lowest position among the upper ranks, Gyutaro is actually one of Muzan's favorite demons because of his extremely greedy and violent nature. Gyutaro and Daki's relationship has a lot of parallels to Tanjiro and Nezuko's. Tanjiro was away when Nezuko was turned into a demon, and Gyutaro also wasn't around when Daki was burned alive. Both brothers carried their sisters on their backs and cried for help until they each met their savior. For Tanjiro and Nezuko, it was Giyu Tomioka, and for the demon siblings, it was Doma. Another cool secret about Daki and Gyutaro that I'm pretty sure most of you didn't know is that they represent a blue moon. Normally there are 12 full moons in a year, which is why there are 12 demon moons in Demon Slayer, but in rare years, you get a blue moon where there are 2 full moons in the same month, raising the total to 13. Since Gyutaro and Daki shared the rank of Upper Moon 6, there were technically 13 demon moons at the start of the series. Gyokko is one of Muzan's favorite upper ranks, despite having a very fishy personality.
Do you get my joke?
This is mainly because his fancy pots can sell for a lot of money and bring in some serious cash. Who knew the Demon King had a thing for profits? Now I can say he's kinda relatable, and apparently the feeling is mutual, as Gyokko is said to have looked down on all living beings except for Muzan. But unlike Gyokko, Muzan isn't really a big fan of hantengu. In the second fanbook, he says that hantengu can sometimes be so annoying to the point of becoming intolerable. When he was human, hantengu once bumped into a scary looking guy and pretended to be blind. After seeing how people pitied him and treated him kindly, he continued to fake his blindness, while also robbing and committing other crimes on the side. And even as a kid, he would lie just to make others look bad and gain sympathy. In fact, hantengu lied so much about his name, age, and background that he eventually forgot what the truth even was. Throughout his life, hantengu had multiple wives and fathered a bunch of kids, but the moment someone accused him of being dishonest, he'd feel like the victim and end up murdering his entire family, only to repeat the same cycle with someone else. If I told you a member of the 12 Kizuki showed up in another manga, you'd probably never think of hantengu, but he actually makes a cameo in chapter 9 of Witch Watch. Yeah, hantengu in a romantic comedy is the last thing I expected. Now that you know the 12 Kizuki better, click here to see 48 secrets you didn't know about the Hashira.